Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode 354 at scavengerlife.com.
If you are new, this might not be the right podcast for you.
No, why is that?
How's that?
Why is that?
It's such a great, and then I'm going to break it down. So we have been selling on eBay for 10
years now. Yeah.
Since 2008.
Yeah.
2008 is when we started, and we were a year and a half kind of part-time hobby. We never thought it could be full-time.
Right.
That was when I think a lot of people hearing us now, that's where they are right now. So if you're hearing us now, you're hearing two it's mature, professional eBayers.
Yeah.
We put a lot of time and energy and thought and work into this. And none of it happened overnight. It's all been kind of built up over time with a lot of experience and trial and error.
Yep. Experimentation.
Yeah, hearing from other people. And even, and so I encourage people who are brand new, go and start to listen to our podcasts when we first, it began, which was March 2013.
Wow.
5 years ago.
Wow.
5 years, right?
Yeah, because
we've been doing this every single week.
I know.
There's only been 2 weeks when we haven't done a podcast.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is crazy.
No vacations. Anyway, tooting our own horn there.
Yeah.
But, even if you start from the beginning of our podcast, we had been selling on eBay for half a decade. So even back then,
That's true.
It was a full-time job. We were pretty comfortable where we were at. Back then, we were just getting out of doing only clothes and shoes.
We had just started doing hard goods.
Because we had been hanging out with Mikey and Wendy, and
Right.
they had been all about yard sales, and we had been getting into that with them. That's kind of how the podcast had begun, because they were learning from us about clothes, and we were learning about them from hard goods, and we were like, let's do a podcast together.
Right.
And and what you'll see is, if you hear all these podcasts, is that, we've just done a lot of the work up front. Like, if you hear us right now, 2018, our business is just kind of going.
Yeah.
Because we've done a lot of the work up front. We have a lot of items that are already up on eBay. We've figured out our storage. We've built our life around the schedule of eBay. Wake up in the morning, shipping,
listing during the day, answering questions.
We have a couple of very, very part-time employees who come and help us. So it's so if someone's brand new hearing us, it's it might be hard to relate to that, because
they're in a different place.
Because we've already solved all those problems.
I mean, where they're at a lot of times is where we were at, like you said, 10 years ago.
Right.
I look at the date and I'm like, yeah, that was 10. Someone asked us recently, how long have you been selling on eBay? It was someone buying something from us. And we were like, 10 years. And we both kind of looked at each other yeah, it has been 10 years, 10 years. And he was like, wow.
And, okay, so this is why I brought all this up.
Yeah.
Is that, so I don't ever mean to be rude. But I can be rude.
Why is that? And
this week, I was very rude on our forums. And I need to apologize to someone new, so this is a person that has been selling also on eBay for a while. He works at an auction house.
Yeah.
So he does the auction house. I don't know how long he's been selling on eBay, but he's a smart guy. And he came on the forum. He's kind of brand new to our forum. And he was like, you know what? I know we all like to do buy it now, but there's some times when auctions are good.
Right.
And, and he gave his thinking behind it. And, me, I'm just I hate auctions so much. It doesn't work for us. And then I was like,
you hate it.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very nice about it. And I wasn't listening to what he was talking about. And then, but I did apologize.
You were very passionate about your opinion.
Right. And this is why.
Yeah.
Because we have been selling on eBay for a while, and we get a lot of people that join the forum, and they're fairly new, and what happens is that they'll have an experience. They'll sell one thing, and they'll extrapolate, you know? So hey, I just found this pair of shoes. I can now build a whole business on shoes, and it'll be really easy, and I'm going to make $1 million. And I'm like, okay, let's break this down.
Right.
Like.
That's what Jay is so good at, and like oftentimes I'm like skipping over in the forum. You're like, let's break this down. I'm like, oh, I've seen this so many times.
And I think that can come across as rude, and sometimes it probably can be rude. But what I'm trying to do is really question people. Like, why do you think this? What is your actual experience, and what is your actual proof that this is happening? And the reason why I do that isn't just to be like mean, like, be a know-it-all. It's because we know what we know from our experience. But if someone can prove to me that something else will work and it's better, we will change our entire business based on that info. Yep. And that has happened. We've done that. Yeah.
Yep. So you really want to dig deep,
right?
Because you're like
I don't want people to do that thing where they're like, yeah, I did it this one time, so it works all the time. I'm like,
which is not science,
right?
That's not science. Right. That's not eBay
wishful
science. Thinking. No, but that's true, right? I mean, you're like,
we want it to
let's replicate
right?
This.
We want it to be replicated because that's how we as people that have had a business on eBay for a decade now. That's how it works. It needs to happen on a regular basis for it to be something we incorporate into our process.
It's like when we talk about numbers. Okay, the week feels like this, but the numbers tell a different story.
Right.
So here's another example. A couple of months ago, Jay was like, we don't sell that many hats. Yeah. And I was like, well, first of all, I pack a ton of hats. Right. And so I actually did the numbers, and I went and looked at our solds for the last 90 days on both stores, and I was like, we sell 10 to 15 hats a month.
Wow.
And it equals this much of our income a month. And you were like, oh.
Yep.
It felt like it wasn't, because first of all, they're not super expensive. They're super small, taking up almost no space in storage, and they take no time to ship.
And they're just $20 and $30 sales.
Right.
And I see people on the forum that are all about the hats.
All about the hats. Yeah.
And they're selling 60 hats a week. And
and you're like, well, we don't do that. Hats, yeah. But so it's that whole thing of it feels like this, but what is the numbers and the science behind it?
So to kind of, go back to the auction thing, this guy, he knows he's got a good point of view, and he's like, auctions are good for this specific purpose, and that's if you have weird Asian pottery.
Like we do.
Right, because that stuff can sell like crazy, or some kind of art, or something where you can't really research it well, and you don't know. His thing is, put it up for the highest price as what you do, buy it now as an auction. If it doesn't, get bought at auction in a week, then just then I'll buy it now, And he's like, what do you have to lose? And I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. It's just, yeah.
Well, we've tried it, and for me, it's not satisfying.
Right. And two things. Number one, because we're pretty public about a lot of things, people now always bring up our big error on that denim jacket where we did it buy it now, and we had mispriced it, and then we put it on auction and it sold real well. So people always throw that in our face, look at that one thing. But it's I can't build a business
on one thing,
on an edge case. And then number two, I get when people say, well, just try and put it on auction. And so what I want from people, I would love this, because again, I want to learn is I want more examples. Yeah. People always bring up that one example. Well, one time I sold this one thing and it sold on auction, got a bidding war, and it sold for a whole lot. This one time.
Right.
I would love to see on a weekly basis. Let's start a thread of why auctions work. And I want to see people that are willing to share, and I want to see regular auction sales that would exceed what a research plus buy it now would do.
Exactly.
That would help me be more into auctions,
It's tough because with that whole thing of starting the auction at the lowest price you would take, You know?
No, the highest price. Like,
so to me, I'm just like,
right, yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
Like,
so,
so think of like the highest buy it now that if you think makes sense, and then see if there's a bidding war based on that, and the idea is, so if it just gets bought at opening bid,
you're happy.
You're already making the most, but we've tried that before.
Yeah, I've been like, here's some Asian pottery, I want $150 for it. Right. And nobody cares. Right. And so I'm putting it back in my store.
So that's why I'm like, okay, I could get into something like that, but I need regular data, not the one time that you sold something in 2011.
Right.
That was hot.
Right.
Super hot.
I mean, the thing is, with the numbers too, like we've sold, like, I think my numbers are up to like over 15,000 items on eBay. And so when you're like, that one time we did the auction, it's like, what's that percentage?
And I've always said this is before, and this happens very often, I feel like, in eBay. It's like people that go and gamble. They're like, one time I went to the casino and I put in a quarter in the slot machine and I won $5,000. And then that one time just keeps them going back,
forever,
doing the same thing over and over again. And again, it's just not a good for us. So again, I just would love data. So talking about auctions, I talked about how we bought that box of D&D modules.
Dungeons and Dragons books.
Some of them were books, but the cooler thing are the modules. And anyone that doesn't know D&D, they're just like these little,
like, supplements.
It's like what the dungeon a master like reads out of, and people still don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. It's fantasy, awesome, people. Yeah. But these are the cool ones because they're from like the 70s, and they're like
some of them are handmade.
And Ryan started doing some of the research, and it's like, man, some of these could sell for
thousands,
$1,400.
No, like one sold for $4,000.
So we're gonna do our own experiment this week. We're going to list a bunch of them, and we're gonna try the experiment that this one guy said. Let's start it. I buy it now at like a good strong price. Like, what would we be happy with?
Right.
Put it on auction, and let's just see. Let's just see if, like, like the whole point is, like, you're putting something up that's really special, that there's collectors out there and people are gonna fight over. Let's just see. And again, another reason why I can be grumpy.
Yeah.
Is because I'm so skeptical of the get a rich quick mentality, or the it's so easy mentality. Like, because, again, it is because people extrapolate too much, Like, they're like, hey, I just started in January, I've been selling for 2 months and I'm making like $1,000 a week. Like, this is easy forever, I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, that's number one. That's incredible. So you're doing something right.
Yeah.
But then there's the other part of the equation that people have to think about. It's just like the long game. Like, the kind of work that you've been doing. Can you imagine that day in and day out?
You do it every day.
Like, what kind of lifestyle is this?
Right.
Because I don't hear a lot of people in our part of the world that have been doing this for a long time. It's like, people come on, they're really into it, they're a couple of years in, and then I never hear from them again.
Yeah.
I don't know if they quit, if they just don't want to talk to us. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know a lot of people that do this full time for years.
It's rare, yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those people because I want to learn from them because they're doing something right.
Right. And, it is that whole thing of, like, people have this idea of selling online as easy, especially with the phones now. Yeah. And they're just like...
And number one, it is easy. It is
easy
to sell something.
Right.
It's not easy to sell a bunch of things
every
day, day after day.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. And that's what it is. I mean, I was talking to someone who has a 200 plus item store, 250. Which is a lot of stuff, right? You're like, that's a lot of stuff. That's not like just 20 things, who I've also talked to people recently that have 20 things. And, they're kind of like, how is this possible? And I'm like, I have 8,000 items. That's the only answer I can give you. You know, that's how.
How is it possible to do this as a business?
Yeah, to make the money and to make a living. And I'm like, it is, you know, it's not volume in the terms of like Amazon volume. It's like a different
it's
you know what I mean?
volume.
Yeah. You're just kind of like, I have 8,000 weird, unique, vintage, strange, used items.
Yep. Stuff that you'd probably see in the trash. Exactly. So so I'm looking from people when they talk, you know, experienced people. I'm looking for consistency and quality of life. You know, like how are you doing this each and every day
without burning out
for years on end? And enjoying it, And then how have you built a quality of life around that that's fun for you and you're still interested?
I think that's why people get burnt out too, because they will just like you said, someone who's like, I'm making $1,000 a week and I just started in January, and you're like, yeah, that's like when you're super passionate and you're like, I can do this, and and then you're like
it feels like just you've created a way, like you created a machine to make cash.
Exactly.
And it feels very exciting.
Right. And then, you know, it is exhausting, you know, just to do that all the time. And so you have to balance it. So I think I've seen a lot of people, you know, from the beginning, people who, you know, started listening to our podcast early on, who I'm like, they're just not around.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's hard to tell if people just, you know, are still doing what they do. They just aren't, you know, participating in conversations with us, you know. We get from where we're sitting right now, we get very like little tiny glimpses. People send us emails. We see them in the forums. You know, they'll call in. So we get these like little tiny blips of
people will say, we got an email this week where someone's like, I've been listening for years and I've never contacted you guys, but I wanted to just say hi. It
was a very heartwarming story. In the sense of, she's like, I had a kid by myself. And I've raised this kid by all on it's my own. And instead of getting a job, I started to sell on eBay, and I was able to spend time with my kid, and I can send him to a really good like preschool. And you know, and its question was, but I'm doing clothes and shoes.
How do I keep going?
And it's a grind.
You know? Exactly.
And I've hit a limit of how much I can handle. You know, and then how do I like break out of that, you know?
Right. Those are very complex questions, but they're good questions.
But I mean, that's good. I mean, that's the point where a lot of us get to, is like, I'm doing this, but I'm not enjoying it.
Right. What do I do?
I want to do something else.
Exactly.
Start a food truck.
Jay, you better start a food truck.
Somebody is gonna do it, and then I'm gonna interview them.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about our week on eBay. Well, this is kind of about eBay. It's kind of like a lifestyle of eBay. So, you know, we're dependent on the internet.
Like, not even a joke, I can't do anything without the internet.
Of course, right. Yeah, I mean, you know, like, that's just how it is. So there was a day... it's this week where the internet just stopped, you know.
Just stopped
and
working.
You know, the thing is, it's just like, it's hard to tell. Like, is it something on our end? Is it the company? Did you try and like chat? It's with the company. CenturyLink is our people, you know. And there's like, we don't see anything wrong. I mean, of course there's something wrong. And so we're like pulling out some of our equipment, testing their equipment, and we spend a couple hours
just fiddling around,
fighting it, you know.
Right.
And like, I'm sitting there like, I see a little bit of it. Oh, it's gone again. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, you were good, though.
Finally, because we were both getting very upset.
You were like, we just need to go. And it was a gorgeous day outside.
Well, we didn't even know.
We didn't even know. We were like, what?
And then I was just like, you know what? Let's just stop. Let's go outside. And it was beautiful.
It was warm. We were in t-shirts.
Yeah, it was like the first kind of real kind of springy day.
Yeah.
Where we are. And it was great. We like... went across the street. We own a couple acres over there, and there was like this old sheet metal building that had blown over. And
there was during a windstorm, the whole thing blew 10 feet away.
We like took it apart, and I put it on the truck to take it to the dump to recycle it. We like I cut a bunch of firewood, so we like stacked it, you know.
Yeah, we were like little homesteaders.
Yeah, we went through our bees. Unfortunately, we had this beehive, and they're all dead.
Our entire beehive died.
Yeah,
I mean, every single bee was dead.
We've had these bees since 2008.
10 years.
The same length
same
of
hive.
And I haven't. We queened it. I haven't done anything.
We haven't done anything except.
I just
minimal maintenance.
I just pull out honey once every.
We feed
year.
them in the winter. They still died.
I just think it was so cold this winter. Anyway, so that was sad. We sanded. We had this old farm table, and then a couple pieces of furniture we bought a week ago at that auction. We like sanded it and like
re-oiled them. They look like new pieces of furniture.
Really nice.
Yeah, so those are things that we do when we're like, okay, I can't. The internet's not reliable. I gotta wait for it to come back.
We don't only do it then, but
no, we don't only. But it's a good time to be just cut the ties here.
Get
and
away
go out.
from the computer.
Step away
and
from the computer.
in doing that, furniture, it always brings us back to like this fantasy of selling furniture. Of like, I'm just like, we spend like 2-3 hours. We like sanded this whole thing. We oiled it. It looks like $1 million.
Let's sell it for $1 million.
Yeah, like we can buy these things for $100. Can I sell it for $800?
It's just a slow game.
It doesn't work for us. Yeah, I mean, because in order for furniture to work the way we want it to, we have to get that kind of profit. Like, buy for 100, sell for 1,000. That's.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to like buy for 10 and sell for 75. I want the big money when it's about storage and work.
Yeah, you gotta haul it. You have to store it. If you want to refinish it, that's like several hours of work. So, is it worth it? I don't know.
It was so fun. The good thing is. Fun. All this furniture is already going into a rental that we have.
Yeah, we already like this. This is furniture that we're going to use for our other businesses, so it's fine.
Yep.
But
okay, now specifically about eBay, a lot of people, I don't know if it was like site wide, but eBay sent a message to everybody where they told you what your INAD returns are.
And INAD is item not as described, which, as a lot of people know, a lot of buyers are starting to kind of abuse that system. Well, because they don't want to pay for shipping.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, like they said ours was 3.71%. Mm-hmm. In the but it was weird. They do all this little small print, but that's just in one category. In clothing, Okay. They said that the average would be 0.7%.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
that cannot be true.
And then they didn't really provide good data showing what items they were talking about.
Right.
Like you could click a link and it opened up like a spreadsheet.
No,
but the spreadsheet wasn't really shown correctly, and you couldn't. It just showed you all of your its returns across all categories.
Right, you're like, is this all my returns?
So, which ones were specifically item not as described in the category you're giving me the percentage for?
But also, which items did I fight and win? Are those still counted?
And what about the ones where people start the
return and never
as
return
INAD and then don't ever return it, and
happens
then we
a lot.
Close it?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. In people were on the forums were kind of freaking out, which I understand. And then people were trying to call into eBay, and no one could call it.
I could not get a hold of it. I had another question for them about a return item not as described, return itself. I was on hold for over 45 minutes to Anchor
and
support. I was like, I have to hang up because I need to go do something else.
Someone said they were on the phone for 3 hours and still didn't get
3 hours.
So it's just those are things where I'm just like, eBay, you're getting I can't defend this kind of stuff.
Right,
I like to say. I like to defend eBay because it is what it is, and I'm willing to accept it as an abused child, But I'm just
God. But look, this.
But you know, like this is kind of stuff where I can't defend it. Like it doesn't make sense to send out these like kind of nonsensical messages with very loose, you know, information. And the problem is, it's a threatening message because it says your returns are too high compared to others. This could affect your items in search.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
like,
a big deal. So of course it's like, I want to talk to someone about this.
Right.
So of course you're going to get 200,000 people trying to call you at one time, you know?
I mean, and the other thing that people were pontificating on, and me too, you know, is this a way for eBay to be like, just do free returns on clothing? Because that's what it feels like. You're like, oh no, just do free returns.
This is how like all the conspiracy theories start. Yeah,
I know, but still.
So you know, they announced that they have a new free its return program. They want people who sell to join up to offer this.
Yeah.
And is this a way to offer the free its returns? Because then no one's going to get in items not as described case, because people can just return it
for any reason
for
free.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. It's a good question.
Okay, the next thing.
Okay, next.
Someone had a good question, and it was: does eBay require a signature confirmation on high dollar items?
I don't think they require it, but it certainly does help if you have that and someone's like, I didn't get this item. You know what I'm saying?
So, I think it's what it is eBay doesn't require it.
Right.
The post office, if you're putting insurance on it, if it's over $750...
It's the post office.
The post office demands that there's signature confirmation.
In order to claim insurance. Right. Because... you don't have to put signature on anything, but you can't be like, they didn't get it. They're like, well, this is too much of a claim.
Right. And I don't know. And then someone was like, and I think they were saying PayPal might require it if you want the seller protection.
Oh, right.
So anyway, I mean, but the whole point was someone was like, should I put this on a high dollar item or not?
Right.
And, you know, and someone said correctly, the signature confirmation is more for the buyer.
Right.
It's more protecting them than it is protecting us.
So it's not just left on the
because
porch.
Because as long as it gets sent to them and, you know, the post office says
delivered,
we're covered, the signature confirmation is good for them. We do it on higher dollar items,
we do. And the thing is, you really have to tell your buyer, because if they work during the day and they're not home, they're just going to get a slip and they're going to have to go to the post office during the open hours. And sometimes that makes people mad because they're like, I didn't know. You know, I would have.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, sure. I've had that happen where you're like.
And also, I think there's a way to say signature confirmation, and it can be anybody.
Right.
Like, it doesn't just have to be the person.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the final thing on eBay specifically was
business policies.
Ryan put our main giant store
on business policies.
Turned business policies on, and we are now switched over.
Yeah. So the weird thing about business policies now, I don't know if they changed it or it's because my store is so big. You know, I was expecting it to, like, make all these different categories of shipping policies and, like, populate those categories. This has 50 listings. This has 1,000 listings, blah, blah, blah. It didn't do that at all. It made some of those policies. Here are the policies you have, because I really only have 3 or 4 policies across the whole store. So I was like, okay, it made the policies. Like, here's first class plus priority plus global shipping. Like, that's one policy. And it would be like 0 listings for an entire week. I was like...
Right. At first it says it could take up to 8 hours to populate. So we're like, okay, we can wait.
I just waited a day, basically.
9, 24 hours, 48 hours.
Yeah, I was just like... So
how'd you fix
what
it?
I did was...
Solution.
The solution for me, because I needed this to happen before we left on our trip to Nashville, because I want to change the handling time... I went in and populated them myself through the bulk editor. So you actually are allowed to do that there. They do have business policies there. So I actually went category by category, basically, and made sure, okay, this category, like shirts, is mostly first class. So I was able to do that. just say, put this business policy on here. And it
So you could
I could bulk edit
policies. Items for the policy.
Yeah, I could bulk edit items and be like, put all these items in this policy. And then it would be like, okay. Yeah. I don't know why I had to do that. I don't remember having to do that on the other store. Mm-hmm. The other store was much messier than this. I mean, this was a little bit messy. It took me all day on Thursday.
Doing policies on the
first store, the littler store, the small store. Yeah. So the thing that was weird to me is that it was two different processes. I'm like, this is a different process than it was before. Yeah. But I figured it out, I was like...
It's like it felt like eBay got caught.
Yeah, it was like it didn't do anything.
Like got plugged up.
But what was weird is, and something that I was afraid of, was looking at our listings thinking there's no shipping information on here or something, but that wasn't true. It was all like the old shipping information was still there. And then when I went in to edit, like one item, it would like show the policy it was under. Right. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to do this manually.
Did you go into our active store and look and everything seems all right? So people can buy stuff?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I fixed it all, we've been making sales. So
it's been a little slow.
Yeah, that's not my problem.
Okay, to wrap this up, I will say this is a good example. Us putting business policies on our main store.
Yes.
We did this because somebody called in and said, why don't you do this?
Not somebody, it was like 5 or 6 different people.
Then I said why I think it's a bad idea. And people were writing in and calling in and we're talking on the forum explaining why it makes sense and how it's improved since they started business policies a couple of years ago or something when it didn't seem to make sense then. And you know what? People convinced us. Makes total sense now.
I love it.
We have now changed our business based on proper eBay science.
Yes, eBay science.
Information.
I was also afraid that like my helpers wouldn't be able to figure it out. But I showed them, I was like, okay, here's the drop down and that's it. And they were like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like that literally is what happened with both of them. They were like, okay, great.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that is really easy.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers for the week. We sold this week in our main store 34 items.
That's very low.
We made about $1,300.
It's not bad.
Average of about $38. So that's good. I mean, our average per price, but we just had those days where like we would sell one thing.
It would be a $10.
We would have another day where we sold like 12 things. Right. So I just but the good news is we're now kind of into this style. We need to make $1,000 a week, so we're good. But we're into like we aren't making holiday cash.
Right.
Our budget is done, so we can live off of $1,000 a week. In gross sales, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
In our second store, we made $500. So
I mean, 500 is great.
It was much better.
Yeah, the second store picked up. It was funny. There were days where we'd sell more in the second store.
And again, that second store is just that kind of autopilot store.
Yep.
All right, we sold. Just really, I only have a couple things. Number one, we sold another insane clown posse hat.
$110.
$110.
You can't beat that.
So we've sold 4 hats, insane clown posse hats, for about $350. I bought 25 of them, I think. 25 or 30 of them for $90.
Right.
So
we were like, was that crazy? And now we're like, nope, it wasn't.
And, it was at that auction where we were in 2 different places. Like
it was 2 different rooms.
In one auction, I was in the other, and I remember it's when I paid $90 for that box. I actually thought I overpaid. I was like, "Ooh, did I just spend too much on insane? Like, who cares about this?" But you know what?
We're finding those juggalos.
It was my gut, and it paid off.
Yep.
Okay, and then a second thing was we sold, talking about furniture, a chair.
We sold a chair
for $199.
$199. $200 for a vintage kind of Danish modern leather recliner. I was thrilled to sell that for $200. The guy kept asking for a discount, and the funny thing is, he sent an offer. I didn't have time to look at it. I was kind of like waiting. You were not home, and I was like, I'm going to wait to see what Jay says. 5 minutes later, he buys it for full price, says, I'm going to pick this up tomorrow because he was in our area.
Yep.
Great.
No problem. And like his kid came, his son in like a sedan. And
his son came in a Ford Focus sedan. This thing's like not meant to fit in a sedan, and he just strapped it in the trunk.
I was like, let's strap it on the back of the car. Let's do it.
It's pouring rain. You're like, okay.
And they just, everything else was just kind of generic. Just
clothes, a lot of clothes.
Little gewgaws and
shoes.
Yep.
Bags.
Yep.
Luggage.
Coats. We sold 2 or 3
sold several coats. I'm like, fine with me.
But yeah, and I know I'm going to go on the forum and people are going to show how the things it's a sold, and there's going to be people with like 500 things in their store, and they're going to sell like 50 things, and I'd be like, holy moly, people!
Yeah, or awesome. They're like, I sold double what you made on like half what fraction of your inventory.
And you know what I'm going to say? God bless you.
Good for you.
Yep. Okay, customer issues.
Yes.
So we had a buyer open an INAD case.
Item not as described. So here's the deal. This guy opened a item not as described. He took like 8 pictures, and he said, the inside pockets of this vest have marks. And he had all these pictures of the inside of the pockets pulled out.
Right, pulled out.
With photos of little paint marks or something. And I had to write to him in the message, like, I just want to clarify what you're showing me. This is the inside of the pockets, which you cannot see when you're wearing the vest. And he goes, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I was like, what?
So, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, come on. Like, is that...
I'm like, really?
I've never even thought about taking a picture of the inside of the pockets. And is this just an example of someone, he got it. He's like, oh, I don't really like it. I don't want to have to pay to ship it back. And I don't want to have to pay the shipping to me. So I'll just say, I'll find anything that's wrong.
Anything.
Like, there's a thread coming off here that they didn't say.
I mean, it was basically that bad.
Yeah.
So what I did is, because I'm in some kind of program...
Accept the return.
I accepted the return after I actually clarified that. Because I wanted him to be very clear if I was going to call eBay and fight it. I didn't call eBay because I couldn't get through to them. So I accepted it, and I decided what to refund. I refunded him the price of the item. No restocking fee or anything. And I was just like, this is clearly buyer's remorse. And hopefully he won't fight it.
And now he can open up a further case.
He can appeal it, yeah.
So my question is, I can hear a seller it's my mind. It's my imaginary...
Other seller.
Contrarian.
Yes.
And this guy's like, well, Ryan, how much would we have eaten in shipping costs if we just accepted it without a problem? Like...
Well, it was first class mail, but it was about £1, so it was about $5 each way.
So we would have eaten $10. Yep.
On a $20, which the other thing too is he gave me an offer. So I gave him less than what it was up for. It's all
I know. I mean, I'm just trying to like the contrarians, like all the time and effort and pain and calling and the heartache. Like, why not just eat these costs and just
why this is my answer.
Go.
Because eBay is not Amazon, and right now I don't know if it'll be like this forever. As a seller, I have the option to appeal that. I'm going to.
Right.
I have a feeling that's going to go away.
Right.
But for now, I'm going to go by the rules and do it.
I think in my mind, when I'm arguing with this person in my head, it's like, it's a philosophical difference.
Principle.
It's like principle.
It is.
It's like, I just think free returns and shipping free is just like not... It's not American, like, there's no free lunch, you know what I mean?
Freedom is not free.
And it's look, someone doesn't enjoy an item, just send it back. But you have to pay for the thing. If you're in one of those person that buys stuff that has to touch everything and feel it before it's good, buy stuff in person, you know? Like, go to the store and do all that stuff.
My thing is, look, it's it's a matter of principle, but it's also a matter of what's allowable by the rules. And it's the combination of the two.
Right.
And that's it. If eBay said, nope, you cannot dispute this, we are forcing free returns, you have to take a return for any reason and you're going to pay for it, then I can't fight it, so I won't, you know, so.
Okay, what a great segue to some things that we talked about on the forum. Number one, so someone had this idea, and I don't think that they meant to have such a great idea that they're having, but it's a great idea. Their thing was on eBay, why doesn't eBay show you the total price for the item? You know, currently right now, it'll have the price for the item plus how much it's going to cost to ship.
So in bold, you see the price, and then in down below, they're like plus $10 shipping.
Yeah, you know, it'll say like standard post.
Yeah, $10. Like it's just whatever.
Why doesn't eBay on the front page just say, you know, does a calculated stuff and say, to get this to you, it's going to be X amount? It's really a brilliant idea. Then it would like get rid of this need for all this...
The competition with free shipping.
All this like... It's glitter and smoke and mirrors of like free shipping and free its returns. Just like if they just do the total price, then it doesn't matter if it ships free or not because it's a total price.
Well, like you said, like we said before, it's psychological. So you're like, okay, this item is $15.
Because as we've all agreed upon, when people say it ships free, what they really mean is it's included in the price. Like I've already taken the cost and just put it in the price, but I'm going to tell you I'm shipping it
for free.
So that would be an interesting thing, you know. eBay, I mean, Amazon doesn't do that. Just put the total price of how much it's going to cost to ship to me.
I mean, the thing is, what Amazon does, and a lot of other I bought something off repairclinic.com.
Right.
They don't even show the shipping till you're checking out.
Right. And Amazon, again, you know, they've done a really good thing of the perception of shipping's free.
Right.
They always say it's free if you have Prime. And then when you go to your cart, if you don't have Prime, it's not free.
And it's $8.
Right.
And whatever.
Yeah, right. And Prime is only free if you pay, what, $90?
I think it's $90 now,
a year.
Yeah.
So really, you're prepaying probably
that stuff,
15 items, and so it's only after you buy 15 things over a period of 12 months where it's really free. So, I mean, you know, who knows? Like, I might be more into shipping free on eBay if like someone had to sign up for some program with us. They pay us $90.
Yeah, exactly. I'll ship to you all day long.
And then I'll ship free. Like, allow that. Like, why can't we have that?
eBay Prime.
Like a Ryan Prime. You know?
Exactly. let's move on.
I'm really getting cranky. I don't want to be
you're
that.
in it. Like, first of all,
I'm starting to get really cranky.
First of all,
I think I got to eat something.
Your glasses. You've got reading glasses in a recliner.
Old man glasses
with a wool sweater and slippers.
Yep.
I'm really, like, how old are you?
I'm really just becoming Archie Bunker, you know.
And you just want a bowl of yogurt right now.
The a racist Archie Bunker.
Right, exactly.
Okay, and then the other thing someone was mentioning was junk lots. This is something else where we have learned. So someone called in 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
From Boston.
Yep.
He was like, I sell junk drawers.
Yeah, he didn't have a southern accent.
That's not the right accent.
He had a Boston accent.
Anyway, and so he would say, you know, he would, you know, go to auctions. At the bottom of boxes, there's all that junk. He would put it and sell it, and he'd sell it for like
$50.
And our forum went crazy that week. People were like, I want that to happen. Like, I have all this junk I want to sell, and people are like, let's do it. People said that they tried to do it. They didn't show any photos or anything, and they said they put it on auction and they didn't sell, which is what I expected, you know. Because, like, it sounds too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
Then someone, it's this week, they posted a really beautiful photo of how they laid it out.
Yeah.
And it was really genius. They had it was probably 20 items. They really arranged it well, that they picked just a good, just different kind of
a variety,
items.
yeah.
And they had several valuable items.
They did have valuable
a
items.
pocket knife, a dice that it looked like it was made out of Bakelite,
which is valuable.
Then they had some like photos, and then a bunch of little.
they had good stuff in there.
Yeah. So it was really genius in the sense of like there were some things that I would have put on its own,
right?
That might have sold for $15,
right?
But she mixed it with a bunch of other stuff, and she sold it for $45, shipped free. So maybe she makes $35. I don't know.
Right.
Depends. It was good. And again, that's a good example. Like I was real skeptical over junk drawers. Like, why would anyone buy actual junk? Because that's what it sounded like people wanted to actually.
They're like, here's some paper clips.
But she showed that she was selling stuff that had some value to it, mixed with junk. And I don't know. It was interesting. And someone said that junk lots are attractive to people with Alzheimer's. I'm assuming people with Alzheimer's aren't buying them, but people who are taking care of Alzheimer's patients.
Yeah, in a care
because I guess they get the box. It's all old stuff.
It's like a treasure chest of like memories.
They get to go through it and look at it, and it's kind of
that is kind of cool.
So interesting. And someone else, speaking of like kind of cool ways people buy things on eBay, we'll put this link on the blog. It's Christian sent me an email where someone's making a documentary about this artist. He bought a box of slides on eBay, and it had a woman was in all these photos from the 60s, I guess. And she's like got the crazy beehived hairdo and the sunglasses, and it was like just her at home and traveling, and he for some reason was kind of like obsessed by her, like in a good way. And he's a beautiful painter, and he's like doing a series of paintings from those slides.
So those are the people that buy slides. That's why I sell slides.
And he talked about it, and he would like go to the places where she was at. He like met her family.
Oh my gosh.
And showed, and so anyway, I'll put the link up there, or Ryan.
See, to me, those are my people who buy slides. They buy photos, they buy ephemera, old letters.
What a great eBay story,
I love to hear that.
It's not just like I need some toilet paper, just go and send me some toilet paper. It's like I need a muse, send me something. And then the last thing somebody it's mentioned was, if you have a store on eBay,
store subscription,
every quarter you get a coupon to buy
a coupon or a coupon depending on where you're from.
Coupon. Stop it. You can buy
shipping supplies.
And someone says there's a new box size.
Now,
I have no idea which one is new.
I'm going to clarify. I don't think these are new box sizes. I think they were just sold out last time.
Oh, okay. I thought like it was a new
I don't know.
size.
There's a list here.
16
by 12 by 8. I think I have those. Those might be new. 10 by 8 by 6. I also think that was just sold out. 8 by 6 by 4, that's not old. 6 by 4 by 4, that's not old.
Oh, so I thought it was like, there was an actual brand new size.
I think they were sold out, and actually someone else said, look, buy these quick before they're sold out. Right. So I gotta order some.
So has the quarter started yet?
Yeah, today.
Oh, okay.
It's April 1st. It's second quarter.
My God.
Q2?
Yep. Quarter. Q2, that's right.
Okay.
That's definitely Amazon speak. Okay, our coming week, briefly.
Yes.
We are leaving on Friday. We are driving to Nashville, Tennessee. We will be there for 1 week. So it's kind of getting all of our ducks in a row to be away for a week.
Yep. Scheduling people to do stuff while we're away.
As we always say, I love that it's so common knowledge now and people do this. We don't put our store on vacation, although some people like to do that. That's fine. We just change our handling time because that's what eBay. That's what eBay says needs to happen.
Yep.
Like if you're gonna ship like a later, you have to tell people that. It doesn't matter if it's on its vacation and there's the banner up top.
Right.
It's all about the handling time.
It's all about the handling time, and we message people. And the great thing is now both my stores have business policies, so it's like just a couple clicks. And during the week when we're away, I can reduce the number in 2 seconds.
Right. So we'll probably change it to 7 business days.
Right.
Right. And then now that we have business policies, like we can then switch it every couple of days. It's like then 5 business days, 3 business days.
It's so easy. It's so much easier.
And then when we're driving back next Saturday,
yeah,
we can then just say,
we're gonna
same day.
Yeah, we're gonna ship it ASAP.
And when we come back, this will be the first time we come back from a trip, and we don't have to like go to all of our little storage sites because we had 3 different places where we had to drive to get stuff. Because that's just how we did it. Now we can just go back.
We just go to our back building.
Yep.
It's so great. I could not love it more.
Yep.
Like, there's no way I could love the storage building any more than I do.
And just to kind of like, I feel like this podcast is like a little present, and I'm about to tie the bow on it.
Yeah.
So, starting off, I said, if you're new to eBay, like this, this podcast might be a little rough because you're hearing from people that have like built a business over a long time.
Yeah.
And that's a good example. It just happens, it takes... Like, things happen over a lot of time. And we haven't gotten to this. I mean, it took us 10 years to get to this point where we had all of our inventory in one place. And it just happened in the past, 3 months. I mean, so the idea that someone could just, start a huge, big, awesome, cool business overnight is just...
I mean, ridiculous. If you already have the storage building, good for you.
If anyone tells you that's possible... Don't believe it.
Don't believe the hype.
I was going to try and think of something else, but yeah.
Okay, let's answer questions that people called in about. You can leave a voice message on our phone line. The phone number is 540-407-8486, and you have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hello, this is Trish at Honey's Place, and I was just listening to your podcast, and I got so excited when you were talking about the Dungeons and Dragons books that I had to share mine. Most of my scavenging is done at estate sales, and trust me, I don't spend a lot of money, but I get good stuff. And I went to this one estate sale that there was a Dungeons and Dragons room. And I didn't know about the estate sale the first day, but I went back the second 2 days. In this room, there were 2 floor-to-ceiling bookshelves with every Dungeons and Dragons book from the time they were, I don't know when, 70s on up into the 2000s, I guess, maybe 1999. Nobody was buying them. So I ended up buying most of them for, I bought a whole, all the 70s ones and the early ones I bought for $1 a book. And then, the next day, the last day, I bought everything for 50 cents a book. And I also bought this little pack of miniature books. And they had a quarter on them when I got there. I sold those for over $400, that little miniature book. It was some little collectible, I don't know, you got it when you got something, I don't know. But anyway, I just had to share that because I made so much money on those Dungeons and Dragons books. And the later ones don't sell for much. I ended up flipping those locally. I had some guy buy them for his son, and he paid me a couple $100 out of my trunk. So anyway, just wanted to share mine, and good find and good luck. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be the room where I would just not let anyone else in and be like,
I'm buying this whole room.
I just bought the whole room.
I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Don't come in here.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Dungeons and Dragons books, you find them, you buy them. It doesn't matter how much you pay because people have no idea what they're worth.
How many hit points do you have?
0.
Are you chaotic, neutral, or are you chaotic good?
Hey guys, this is Edward from Orlando. Just finished listening to the podcast about your philosophy. Loved it. I follow the same thing, list it, forget it. And I'm trying to do more of your philosophy of spending more for higher quality items that will sell for more in my store. And I ran across an item this weekend when I was out with my wife. We were getting ready to go to an art festival in town and decided to stop at a couple of thrift stores on the way. And stopped at this church thrift store that I don't go to very often. And as soon as I walked in, I saw this big piece of wall art that I recognized the style. It's a mid-century type stuff. And wanted it mainly for my house or to sell. And it's a higher price. It was $110, but when I looked it up on eBay, a couple of them have sold in the $500 to $600 range this year. So it's like, I'm going to follow your philosophy and, spend some more money, get a high quality price, product, and I can display it in the house, enjoy it until somebody's willing to pay the price that I want for it to, get rid of it. Now it's big. It's 5 foot by 2 foot. So I'm going to have it packaged. I'll have to get a price on how much it's going to cost to ship. But, if somebody's willing to pay me $600-700 for it, I will part with it, happily and make the extra money. The other thing I wanted to mention was you talked about the emails where people have things in your cart. I've had a couple of those, and I tried it, lowered the price on an item, and didn't sell. So I turned around and raised the price by $3 because it had several watchers, and somebody paid the new price that I asked for. And then the other thing was on the guaranteed delivery dates. I received an email just the other day from eBay saying that they were going to put me into that program based on my good track record of shipping things within, 1 day, my handling time, and getting things done. So I didn't have to ask for it. They sent me an email saying that I'm going to be put into it if I wanted to. So that's all I had. Thank you for your podcast. I appreciate what you do and all the information you give us. It's very helpful to me and my wife. Thanks.
Okay, that's cool. You found that painting, 5 by 2. That's quite a large painting. That is massive. Yeah. 5 feet.
Can that even be shipped? I mean, that can't be shipped.
No, because if it's a thin painting, the
60 inches.
I've shipped like super long.
What's the dim weight on that?
But that's what it is. It's dimensional weight. So if it's 2 feet, like that, okay, 5 feet, that's about, as tall as me. And then the dim weight, it's, thin. It's they're gonna ship it. You can ship it parcel or FedEx ground or UPS ground. So I think you could do it. And it's probably not a super heavy piece too if it's canvas and wood, but I don't know. That's a good question. Might have to be local pickup.
And that's cool that he raised the price on items and someone...
See, I love that. Like, that's totally what I love to do, where it's like, actually, no, I'm putting more money on this. And then it's sold. Yeah. You're like, I just made more money. So, yeah, I think that's great.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. I called last week and about buying the storage units and just listened to the podcast. And you had made mention that if you would like if I called back to let you know how I made out on everything. So just some more information on them. It took me 3 days from the time that I actually went up, paid for them, emptied the units out, got them back to my house, and actually processed everything that was in them and donated what needed donating, and then bagged the trash, and I just called for an extra pickup, which was $15 from the city, and they took the 60 bags of trash. To give you an idea how much came out of the units, I have a 5x8 enclosed trailer, which I pull with a rusty Ford Taurus. I was listening to you talk about that. That's what I do. And I filled that 3 times and the back seat, the trunk of the car, and brought it all back. While I was processing everything, I would come across things and list them. I made the $190 back in the first 24 hours. Doing a rough estimate, I think I should make about $2,000 off of what else I'm selling online, and I will probably have around a $700 or $800 garage sale. Lots of clothes which I cleaned and that are all in good shape. I'm going to do $1 an article so that they sell quick, and I'll donate whatever else didn't sell. So it was more of an education. I kind of thought, well, I wasn't going to pay a whole bunch for these because it was a learning experience as much as it was getting products to sell and inventory to sell. And I did learn, and I learned what to look for next time. But there was really great stuff in it. I mean, some of the stuff, like even if owners of storage units go through, they won't know to pull it. I sold a couple $100 textbooks that were in there, and that's what paid me back right away. There was a PlayStation 3 and a couple very nice leather coats, which I've been trying to trick of hanging them outside to get the cigarette smoke smell out of them, but they're in beautiful condition. They're super high quality. So I haven't counted that, and there was a few hundred CDs which I kept, which I didn't count towards the total, which I probably could have made another $1,000 off of those if I wanted to list those. So that's the story. That's the amount of work, and it was a lot of work, but it was also good learning experience for me. Also found a couple crack pipes and some heroin kits, so always got to wear leather gloves when you go through this stuff. Thanks again, and I enjoy the podcast.
I like the crack pipes part of the story.
I mean, you never know what you're going to find in those places.
See, so I mean, I'm glad he called back. We had some questions for him about like how much work it was. So it sounds like a lot. It's a lot of, like people said, a lot of these storage auctions. There's a lot of trash that you have to go through. Mattresses and old clothes.
I think he said 60 bags of trash.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, if you see it as something that's fun, like a treasure hunt, then, it's all good. Like, it's no different than, us going to a thrift store and, like, rooting through boxes of clothes. Like, it's just time, I guess.
Right.
It's...
and like you said, it's just an education.
Yeah. He also got these really cheap. He got them, I think,
$190 for 3 units?
Yeah, I mean, that's... I've never seen a storage
cheap.
auction that goes that cheap, so that's a great buy-in.
Yeah.
There's so many, as I've said, there's so many other places to buy stuff that you can actually see the stuff you're going to buy. It's not worth buying stuff blind.
Right.
But it sounds like he had a lot of fun, a lot of CDs. I mean, cool.
Yeah, sure.
That's awesome.
Hey, it's James. I was just calling back. I called last week about how I don't accept offers. I just put the item on sale. I just wanted to clarify how I do that a bit. I don't do best offer at all on my listings. Everything's buy it now. And since the buyer can just message you if they want to make you an offer, that's how I take offers. And so I don't actually have to decline their offer. If they send me an offer through message, I can just put the item on sale, and that's that. It also makes it a little less complicated to the buyer since I don't even have make an offer as an option on the listing. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, so now I understand. You don't have best offer on your items. It's when someone says, "Hey, will you take $20 for this?" And you're like, "Okay, I'll put this on sale." And so
just to summarize, so his strategy it's an interesting strategy or tactic maybe.
Yeah.
Is that he doesn't do best offer.
Right.
And someone says, "Hey, I'll give you $20. It's for that item." Instead of sending that person an offer, he'll just put the item on sale. And then he'll just say,
anyone can buy this.
I changed the price. It's there, but if you don't buy it, someone else will at that same price.
Right.
So it doesn't feel like it's special or that if that person turned it down, someone else might not buy it.
Right,
so it's kind of smart. You're like, it put a fire under the person.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Like, they better buy quick, because we've all had that experience where people will say, I'll buy that from you for X amount, if you send them an offer.
And you never hear from them. The other thing, too, that he avoids is people not paying. Because when you send an offer and someone's like, I'll do $20, accept the offer, and they never pay. We had that happen with 2 pairs of boots.
Right.
This guy offered, $80 per boot, and then he never paid. We accepted his offers, but if you put it on sale, they have to buy it immediately.
But so he's smart, because his tactic is he's not putting make offer on there, so people aren't doing a make offer through the make offer.
It's through the message.
They're having a message, because if they make an offer, then you can't change the price of the item while there's an active offer.
Exactly.
So that's smart. I don't know.
Interesting. It's a little more work, because then you're like, I gotta go, instead of just...
But he's solving, that problem.
To buy immediately.
He's solving that problem of, like, sending someone an offer, them accepting, and then not paying.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So that's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting workaround.
Yeah, my only thing is just, I feel like there are buyers that might not know that they can a message and make an offer.
Right.
Like, I find like that's more a savvy kind of
it's a newer thing too that's available, so not everyone knows that.
Hi guys, it's Tam from Tam's Vintage and More. I was listening to the podcast today, and somebody called in asking if you all ever made a story up about something that you were selling, and if you thought it was okay. And I'd like to say I have definitely done that. It seems like sometimes people just like they want more of a connection to what they're buying, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's cool. You just make a gentle little fairy tale for them and everybody's happy. And also, I've had buyers make up stories about stuff that they have bought from me with pictures. They send pictures and stories and poems. And it's cool. It's nice. It makes me see that they're happy with what they bought. So I see nothing wrong with a little embellishment every now and again. Love the show. Thanks for all the info.
I love that. I mean, that goes back to like why selling kind of wacky stuff on eBay's fun and different from any other platform, just because.
Well, you're always wondering what is the story anyway. You know, you're holding something and you're like
we've had people, you know, like I'll sell an old tool and someone's like, where'd this tool come from? You know, like
right.
And, you know, I'll just say it's from an old farmer in our county. You know?
Exactly. And you know what? It probably was.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is.
Whether I got it directly from them or not.
I mean, I think that the one line you don't want to cross is like you're talking about, like, I don't know.
Well, high-end, if you're like, this was painted by Picasso, like, that's not the kind of story we're talking about.
Right.
You're
it's
like,
more about just,
this is like, was from a local estate or whatever, you know, and I mean, most of the times that's pretty much true anyway, but I just think it's funny when people ask the origin story because you're like, in my practical mind, I'm like, what does it matter? Do you want the item or not? Like,
but like she says, and it's true, people want like, oh, it's like, it's special.
It's special
like,
because it's,
like,
there's a story.
That, you know,
Right, exactly.
Hey, fellow Scavengers. This is Josh from Central Michigan. I called once before.
Hey, Josh, we got a call from him and we cannot hear you. Like, your phone call was very muffled.
It sounds like you're underwater.
And so that kind of brings up just about calls in general. We definitely have a phone number that people can call. I found like people are calling on their cell phone while they're driving, and it can not sound so good. So, number one, I just ask you if you want people to hear better, and I'm not just talking about him, but just in general.
There have been several calls that we couldn't play at all.
You know, just try and sit in one place where you're getting good
reception.
Or what a couple of people have done, and it's kind of amazing. They just record it on their phone. Like, we all have this like
voice recorder
audio app.
Yeah,
and then you can email us that
like
audio
the little
file,
MP3,
because that's all we do is that this phone number just makes a bunch of digital files that we edit.
I just download the MP3 off Google Voice.
And people that just record on their phone without calling in,
they sound like they're in the room with us,
and they email us. It's like, you're going to make us sound like such a professional podcast.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate because I want to play this call, but it's unlistenable. Right. It's inaudible.
Yeah, and just any phone call where it's on a bad cell phone. We play most of them, but they just don't.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. So please do not call while you're driving with the window down, because that has happened so many times. Right. Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discussed and to join the conversation on the forum. You can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. Again, that phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video that shows what sold and how much it sold for, currently being brought to you by Steven Schultz. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. You can rent one of our vacation rentals. Go check the calendar. We link to it on the sidebar of the blog on a little link that says Our Rentals. Okay, we are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1. Bye.